the world of Hollywood gossip, few figures are as polarizing and as elusive as Enty lawyer, the mysterious force behind the infamous Crazy Days and Nights blog. But behind the blinds and the scandals lies a tangled web of deception, betrayal, and courtroom drama that even the most seasoned gossip enthusiasts could have never predicted, including myself. Today, we're peeling back the layers of this real life thriller where the so-called keeper of Hollywood's dirty secrets, Enty lawyer, aka John Nelson, faces a public unraveling. Let's start with the beginning of the end for John Nelson in February 2024. The Daily Beast dropped a bombshell article written by Jared Holtz, where Enty's carefully crafted persona began to crack wide open. Nelson was unmasked as none other through his court documents in a case against his ex-girlfriend Cassandra Crose. Cassandra, a single mother of 3, became the key to exposing the man behind the blinds. Some call her a mistress, but can you call someone a mistress who was under the impression she was in a relationship with a single man? Cassandra Crose thought she was gifting herself a birthday present, a podcast collaboration that set her back a couple of $100. Little did she know it would turn into a nightmare that would change her life forever. She met John Nelson, better known as Enty lawyer, and within 48 hours, he gave her all of his passwords. Yes, all of them. And what started as a simple friendship quickly spiraled into something much more, especially with the constant texting. Sometimes it could be more than 100 in a day. And that is the reason why she has so many screenshots. She would have to screenshot all of them so she could read them, because if she didn't, she would be reading in her text chain. She would read one in her chain, and then he would send her another one, and then it would start over the feed, so she wouldn't know where she left off at. It wasn't long before John revealed his truth, that he was single. He had no kids. A perfect story for a man hiding his double life. Cassandra, on the other hand, was a single mom of 3, 2 with disabilities, and she was financially struggling on the daily, working her ass off to make ends meet, especially with hospital, medical bills, the therapy that is needed as well. Talk about a supermom. That is Cassandra. But she was vulnerable. She was hopeful. She fell for John's love bombing. His constant affection and attention integrated him into her life so deeply, even from thousands of miles away in Indio, California, while she was in Florida. He made her feel seen, made her believe in a possibility of a future together. But as with all too good to be true stories, cracks started to form. During his first trip to see her, the truth came crashing down. His wife, Victoria, started texting Cassandra, exposing John's lies, and even going as far as highlighting that he makes up his own blinds. He wasn't single, and he wasn't without kids. Devastated, Cassandra tried to end things, but John had his hooks in deep. He claimed he was going through a separation and even went as far as faking his own divorce papers to keep his grasp into her. And this is a man who claims to be a lawyer. But things didn't stop there. The relationship continued, and as John's manipulation did too. In a bizarre twist, Cassandra even found herself communicating with John's wife, who was also leading her to believe that they were separated, that they were going through a divorce. And as their tangled web of deception grew more complicated, and as the relationship progressed, so did John's control over Cassandra. His love bombing turned dark emotionally, verbally, visually, physically, and sexually. He manipulated her with the promise of a better life, leading her to believe that he would move her and her children from Florida to California. They'd be a happy family, he said, with his 2 daughters, all living underneath the same roof. Cassandra believed him. She uprooted her life, packed up her belongings, pulled her kids out of school and the very hard to get therapy. She was on a waiting list so long for her kids. And she threw heartbreaking going away parties with her family that were full of tears and goodbyes. But instead of the happy reunion she was promised, John had one last betrayal up his sleeve, more than likely that green polo that he always loves to wear. Seems to be his only shirt. And as he claimed, he was on a plane to come and get her. There was a knock on her door. It wasn't John. It was someone serving her a restraining order for stalking, a bogus claim meant to silence her and cut her out of his life once and for all. The fairy tale that she thought she was living, nothing more than a carefully orchestrated nightmare. John Nelson had manipulated her, abused, and controlled her, and leaving her to pick up the pieces of a shattered life. Cassandra has been facing off with John Enty lawyer all year on this, leading to a string of shocking allegations, both personal and professional. And it all started with a relationship that was messier than the celebrity scandals he usually writes about. And in a fiery turn of events, during the most recent court showdown, Cassandra revealed that Nelson, while posing as a high-powered Hollywood insider, was in fact a small-time married lawyer from California. Nelson allegedly kept up this charade for years, pulling the strings behind the crazy days and night site, while simultaneously maintaining a scandalous relationship with Crose, and all the while by being sued by Diana Jenkins. This was all the same time period. According to Cassandra, their affair was far from a fling, and she provided detailed accounts of their relationship, painting a picture of manipulation and deceit. Crose described Nelson as disheveled, even bloated during his court appearance, and claimed that his emotional state had taken a toll on his personal life. His marriage was in shambles, his wife was in intensive therapy, and his children were reportedly and understandably traumatized by his double life. The courtroom tension, thick enough to cut with a knife. Now, in this legal saga, Nelson's credibility came under fire, and not just because of his questionable relationship choices. As Leila Shapiro of the New York Magazine documented in her explosive article, "The Man Who Gossiped Too Much," Nelson struggled to prove he was anything more than a fraud. During his court appearance, a judge even questioned his legitimacy as a lawyer, pointing out the glaring lack of evidence and support in his case against Cassandra. In an ironic twist of fate, the man who built his empire, or unverified gossip, couldn't even seem to back up his own claims in court. And again, he's supposed to be a damn lawyer. Nelson attempted to turn the tables on Cassandra by accusing her of abuse, even claiming she beat her own children in front of him. And if anyone knows her, they know that that is not true at all. And that is definitely a claim that she has vehemently denied. His tactics to discredit her were clear, but ultimately failed to sway the court. Even worse for Nelson, he suggested that the FBI was still investigating her, implying she was under federal scrutiny. But he was just another desperate attempt by him to shift the narrative, and the judge wasn't buying it. Because of this, she did not have to testify. The real kicker, Nelson, the king of gossip, wanted one thing out of the courtroom drama: silence. He sought to prevent Cassandra from ever talking about him again, a stunning move from the man who makes his living by exposing others. The judge, however, saw right through his ploy, stating that Cassandra's response to being served was reasonable and within her rights. Nelson's credibility was hanging by a thread, and with each failed argument, the thread was unraveling fast. But what's truly wild about this case is not just the courtroom drama. It's a fallout in Nelson's personal life. His family was reportedly shattered by the revelations. His wife, a central figure in his personal breakdown, was undergoing intensive therapy, trying to cope. His children, traumatized by his frequent absences, reportedly found themselves in the crossfire. But let's not also forget Cassandra as well, who is still picking up her pieces of her life and her children, trying to get them back into therapy, and the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars that she had to spend to not be silent so that this doesn't happen to any other women, because it has happened to more women beyond her. But at the heart of this legal battle, the question of freedom of speech versus personal privacy. Nelson, the man who lives and breathes by revealing others' secrets, found himself desperate to keep his own skeletons locked away. But Cassandra Crose, undeterred and determined, stood her damn ground, refusing to let Nelson's influence silence her. And so, as we stand here today in the aftermath of this jaw-dropping court drama, one thing remains clear. John Nelson, Enty lawyer, his empire of gossip, built on shaky ground and secretive whispers, is crumbling. His latest court appearance, in which he lost to Cassandra Crose, marks a significant turning point in his story. The man once wielded rumors of weapons now finds himself on the other side, unable to defend against the truth coming to life. Nelson's future as Enty lawyer, it's uncertain, but one thing's for sure. The man who once held Hollywood's secret may soon find that his own are too heavy to bear. And that, my friends, is where we are now, as the empire is in decline, a life is in shambles, and a reputation that may never be able to recover. And Cassandra, as she rises from the ashes after this court case, I truly wish her all the best. I suggest you follow her more at Drenched in Drama. But stay tuned for more, because in Hollywood, the truth is something stranger than fiction.
It's the talk of the town. If you're into the